Welcome to the wonderful world of firearms and firepower. You're about to have a rare opportunity to see some of the world's most powerful and deadly weapons in blazing action. But before we get to the long guns, the silencers, and the full auto weapons, we're going to start with a look at a wide variety of handgun ammunition. We're going to be testing each of these pistols and several types of handgun ammunition to provide you with a visual comparison of the relative power of handgun ammunition. Why do we use the term power to describe handgun ammunition? Well, power really means one thing: the ability of the bullet to destroy human or animal tissue. While not a subject of much concern to target shooters, the power factor is of great concern to those in law enforcement, security, and to those concerned with personal defense. On the streets and in the bush, a bullet's power means one thing: your bullet's ability to cause damage sufficient to prevent the bad guy from shooting back. We're not going to recommend a specific bullet or caliber. We're simply going to demonstrate the relative power of ammo types by shooting at a 1-gallon jug of water. There is one other important bullet characteristic you should consider, and that's the bullet's ability to penetrate. This is usually determined by the bullet's size and design. Let's take a look at some of the different bullet designs. There are solid bullets, some lead, some covered with a full metal jacket. There are hollow point types, and there are special frangible bullets, like the shot shell or the Glaser safety slug. The variety in bullet design results from the penetration factor. You want a bullet with sufficient penetration to pierce a man's coat, a leather jacket, or a wallet, but you don't want it to have sufficient penetration to penetrate through the body and come out the other side. That's why hollow points were invented. The idea of the hollow point is that the bullet, upon contact, will deform into a much larger shape. This will also create a more devastating wound, and it will prevent the bullet from penetrating through the body. We're going to take a look at all these bullets in action in just a minute. I'm using a 3/4-inch pine board in front of the jug to simulate a bone or other hard material. Let's try it. Our first bullet will be the .22 long rifle. This is a 40-grain lead bullet fired from a Model 70S Beretta pistol. Let's see what it does. Good. Now we'll try it with a high-velocity .22. This is a .22 hollow point with a stated velocity of about 1,500 feet per second. Now we're going to try the .25 automatic. Yes, 25 is a bigger number than 22, but the power of a 25 is much reduced from that of a 22. This is a 50-grain bullet at about 800 feet per second. This is a .32 auto, which is a very weak bullet. It's a 71-grain bullet, about 850 feet per second. We're firing it from a Walther. This is a full metal jacketed bullet. We'll see what it does. Now we're going to try a more powerful .32 round, the .32 silver tip. This is a 70-grain bullet at about 950 feet per second. Now we're into what is considered the minimum for a defensive weapon. This is a .380, which is also known as a 9mm short. We're firing a ball round, a full metal jacketed round, a 95 grain bullet at about 900 feet per second. Now we're starting to see some reaction from the water jug. We're going to use a 380 Super Vel. This is an 88 grain bullet, jacketed hollow point at about 1100 feet per second. Whew. Now what you just saw with that Super Vel 380, that was what I would consider a minimum defensive load. But now we're going to try something unique, the Glaser safety slug. This is a special bullet designed not to ricochet and not to penetrate, but to do maximum damage, as you will soon see. There. That was quite impressive with the 380 safety slug. Now we're going up to the 38 caliber, an old standby police caliber. We're going to use a 158 grain lead bullet at about 850 feet per second. The 38 and the 380 are not the same. It's a confusing use of numbers, but believe me, the 380 and the 38 are quite different. That wasn't too impressive. The 38 special with the 158 grain didn't do anywhere near as much as a safety slug in 380. But now we're going to use a more powerful 38 bullet, a jacketed soft point bullet. This is a 110 grain Super Vel, which is about 1250 feet per second. Now we're going to try the 38 Special Glaser Safety Slug. This is an even lighter bullet at 85 grains, going at much faster, about 1400 feet per second. Now we're with the 38 Super. This is a 38 caliber bullet made for an automatic. It's a very powerful bullet. This is a full metal jacketed bullet, which is at 1150 feet per second, 130 grain bullet. Now we're going to try the 9mm full metal jacket. This is probably the most popular military cartridge in the world. This is a 123 grain bullet at 1125 feet per second. This is a 9mm Super Vel. It's a 112 grain bullet, jacketed hollow point, at about 1300 feet per second. Now we'll try the 9mm Glaser Safety Slug. Now we're going to use the 357 Magnum. This is a 158 grain bullet at about 1400 feet per second. Now we're going to try the Supervel jacketed hollow point, 110 grain at about 1,550 feet per second. Very powerful bullet. And now the .357 Magnum Glaser safety slug. This is an 80 grain bullet at about 2,000 feet per second. This will make a splash. This is the .45 ACP, one of the most famous rounds in the world, one of the most popular rounds in the world. It's a 230 grain bullet which travels at about 850 feet per second. .45 caliber silver tip. This is made by Winchester. It's a very popular police round currently. It's a 185 grain bullet traveling at about 970 feet per second. This is the Supervel jacketed hollow point in .45 caliber. This is a 185 grain bullet at about 1,000 feet per second. This is the Glaser .45 caliber bullet. It's about an 80 grain bullet at about 1,200 feet per second. It'll make a splash. This is a gun. To all you Dirty Harry fans, you'll recognize this. This is the Model 29 44 Magnum, 8 3/8 inch barrel. Probably the most powerful handgun in the world. We're going to shoot a jacketed hollow point, 240 grain bullet at about 1,400 feet per second. How about that? Well, now we're going to try the .44 Magnum Glaser safety slug, which is about a 168 grain bullet at about 1,800 feet per second. The old nickel-plated Model 29 will do the job. Yeah! We're going to try a 38 shot shell. This is a small plastic capsule filled with little tiny BBs, number 7 shot. For some reason, there are a lot of people around lately who believe that this is a good defensive load. This bullet was designed to shoot birds or little critters you have a hard time hitting with a bullet. It is not an effective man stopper, and we'll demonstrate it. Nothing. I doubt there's even, oh, there's a little leak in there. Little bit of a hit. Certainly wouldn't stop a man, though. Let's even try it closer up. We've got one visible hole in it now. Here I am about 4 feet away, directly on. We have a few more holes, but believe me, I would not use this to try to stop somebody with. This is a bird load. Use it for birds. Here's the 3/4-inch pine board we had in front of the jug that we shot with the shot shell, a 38 shot shell. You notice that there was some leaking of the jug, but that was from pellets that missed the board. If you notice the board, there's no penetration at all. There's about just dimples in there, maybe an eighth of an inch thick, eighth of an inch deep, if that. There's no penetration whatsoever. This would never penetrate a bone or even a heavy coat or a jacket. Don't use a 38 shot shell, please. Okay, we just shot all these jugs, as you saw. Remember, in front of each jug we had a 3/4-inch pine board, which would simulate the substance of a bone or a wallet or a thick coat. This is probably not as tough as a sternum bone or a major bone in your body, but it is some obstacle to the bullet. We wanted to see if the bullet would expand enough to be stopped in the wood or penetrate through the wood and into the water jugs. Let's take a look at some of the water jugs. Start with the 22. 22 entered here, came out here. Not much power, went all the way through. We'll compare that with another bullet like the 38 158 grain lead. This is a very popular police round. Entered here, came out somewhere in here and split the jug. Now compare this 38 special to a 38 safety slug. 38 special safety slug. It entered here and did not exit. It just blew up the entire jug, split the jug. It used all its energy instead of exiting and carrying on. It used its energy to move the water around and just do a lot of damage. You can see a piece of the jacket still sticking out here. Let's take a look at some of the other calibers. We've got the famous 9mm ball, full metal jacket. Entered here, came out here, split the case. Let's compare that to 357 Magnum. 357, 158 grain lead, just a basic bullet. Entered here and came out somewhere in here. Did quite a bit more damage when you compare that to the 9mm. A lot more power. The 45 ACP, one of the most popular rounds. Entered here, came out here. Not too impressive. The 45 safety slug entered here and then just split the entire jug into pieces. A bit more power. The 44 Magnum jacketed hollow point. Not much left to look at. Entered somewhere, I'm not sure where it entered or where it exited, if it did exit, but it destroyed the jug completely. What's there to learn from all this?
Well, the most powerful bullet is the largest bullet with the highest velocity. That's pretty clear. But large caliber handguns recoil quite severely, which, for most people, makes them difficult to control, especially for the second shot. Large caliber handguns are also relatively heavy and difficult to conceal. So while the most powerful bullet is best, it is often not the most practical. You should use what you have just seen to consider the differences among different calibers and bullet types and decide for yourself. We've learned something about bullet power, but what about bullet penetration, practical penetration?
We've taped a target inside this car. We're going to shoot through the door to test penetration from a 357 Magnum. This is a Python 6-inch barrel. First bullet we'll be using is the full metal jacket. Now we'll take a look at the door. Well, there's no hit on the target, as you can see. There's no penetration through the interior. No hit at all. Next we'll try a higher velocity, but jacketed hollow point. 357 jacketed hollow point Superville. Ooh, a lot more powerful. Nasty hole there. And sure enough, we have a hit. Actually, too, the bullet must have come apart Now we'll try it with a 357 armor-piercing KTW bullet. This, by the way, is famous as a cop killer bullet, which is a lot of nonsense because no policeman's ever been shot with it. The Teflon coating you may have heard about has nothing to do with penetration. Teflon coating is simply to protect the barrel because it's a very hard metal. Here we go. And we have a hole in the target, one nice hole. It did keyhole though. You can see it's not a round hole. It's kind of squared. The round went through there. It did not penetrate the other door. Next we'll try the Glazer safety slug. This is a special bullet, which is really not for shooting through doors, but we'll see what it does. But no hit on the target, no penetration through here, through the door. This is the area where it was hit. Yeah, right here. The bullet came apart inside, which is what it's supposed to do inside a body, but no penetration through the door. Okay, next we'll try another caliber. I'll replace the target and try another caliber. Now we'll try 38 Special, favorite police logo. We're going to fire it out of the same gun. As most of you know, a 357 Magnum and a 38 fire from the same gun. A 357 can fire both 38s and 357 Magnums. First one we're going to try is the 158 grain jacketed, full metal jacket bullet, standard bullet. And no penetration at all on the target. No marking here at all on the door. Nothing. No penetration. Next we'll try a 110 grain jacketed hollow point 38 Supervel. A very powerful bullet. But once again, well, we got a little dimple here. That wouldn't hurt anyone. It did kind of break through right here. It probably threw out some piece of the molding here. But that's about it. Nothing effective. Essentially no penetration. No effective penetration. Next we'll try the 38 KTW armor piercing. And let's see what we got. No penetration. No penetration through. Last we'll try 38 Glazer safety slug. I doubt it will make through, but we'll try it. Whew, bigger blast. But no penetration to the target. So no 38 made it through the door. Now we'll try the 9mm. I'm going to replace this target. The other one threw away. Put a new one in there. And we'll try the 9mm. First round will be a 9mm full metal jacket. 115 grain bullet, standard military round. Take a look at it. Well, no penetration. We have a little dent here. Something came out and hit that, but nothing substantial at all. Next, we'll try the 110 grain Supervel hollow point. Well, we got a lot of junk here, but nothing substantial. Just a lot of pieces of junk. Well, here's part of the bullet sticking in the seat. Here's part of the jacket. was just stuck in the seat. That wouldn't hurt anyone. That would make you jump, perhaps, but wouldn't stop anybody from shooting back at you. Next, we'll try the 9mm KTW, armor piercing. Blew the other window out. Must have gone all the way through. We'll see. Here we got one clean hole. It went clean through. 9mm KTW went clean through and into the other door. I can't quite see if it where it hit, but it was powerful enough to jar the other door to break the other window. Powerful. Last, we'll try the 9mm Glazer safety slug. Big hole again. And we did get penetration on that. See that hole there? Penetration. That would have been enough to hurt somebody if the bullet stayed together that much. Here's where it came out. Replace our target. This guy's going to be in pain very soon. Because we've got the 44 Magnum 6-inch barrel. First round is a 220 grain half-jacketed solid bullet. Whew. What a blast! Entry hole here. No penetration in the target.
Now the Remington 210 grain jacketed hollow point.
Whew. That was a blast. No penetration. But we'll go on and try the next one, which is the KTW 44 Magnum armor piercing. Still no holes, no marks. Put the target a little further to the right this time. Find a cleaner place in the door. And now we're going to try the 45. This is a 230 grain full metal jacket bullet first. Well, no penetration. It was in this area somewhere. No penetration at all. Next we'll try a 45 Supervel. It's 185 grain jacketed hollow point. Oh, look at that entry hole. You see how the bullet expanded in that? Good God. Amazing. I doubt if it penetrated with that kind of expansion in the sheet metal. No, once again, no penetration. Next, I've got the KTW, 45 KTW armor piercing. Now there we got a penetration. Moderately clean hole. That was a good penetration. The last one we'll try is the Glazer safety slug. I'll try it below it. A lot of kick to that, I'll tell you. Big hole going in. But once again, no penetration. That's the same hole we had from the KTW. So we only have the KTW sneak through on the 45 calibers. Just KTW. What does all this tell you about shooting at car doors? Well, to be quite frank, it doesn't tell you too much. Because inside a car door, you have a lot of different things. There's a reinforcing bar that goes across here. You've got the operating rods for the windows. You've got the door handle mechanisms. There's all sorts of different areas in here. It's like a human body. Some areas are very soft. Some areas are very hard. Depends where you hit. What we're trying to show here is that there are a few bullets that will reliably go through and penetrate a car door. With a handgun, you generally shouldn't shoot